Welcome to the What to Read Next podcast. In this podcast, your host, Lori Amin, will interview published authors to chat about their work, journey to getting published, and their book recommendations. If you share a passion for books and always looking for your next read, then join us.
Hi, Shelley. Welcome to What to Read Next podcast.
Hi, Laura. It's great to be here.
So happy to have you here. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I live in New Jersey. I write both beach reads and historical mysteries. Before I became a writer, I was a professional dancer, and I sort of toured the world and met all these fabulous people and saw incredible things. And then I moved to New Jersey to have kids. But I started writing books, and I think I have about 20 or 30 now. I made the New York Times and the USA Today best-selling list, which is really cool. And I'm very happy doing it.
That is really cool. So what kind of historical mysteries do you write? Like, do you have a time period that you write for? Or
yeah, I have one series that takes place at Newport during the 1895, I think. The height of the Gilded Age with all those huge cottages. And I have a new series. I just turned in the fourth one. No, the fourth one's coming out in November. That's in Manhattan in the 1907, 1908. And stars a young widowed dowager countess that's come to the New World to make her fortune. Of course, she ends up having to investigate murders. So it's a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of fun. I love Gilded Age. So you had me at Newport 1890.
Oh, I know. I mean, the fashion alone, right?
Yes, the fashion. I adore, I don't know, the inventions of stuff. I live in New York for a long time. So it just reminded me of in New York, an era, things are they're still alive, or they're just getting started, new things, new beginnings.
That's why that period to me is so interesting, because it was like the new woman, all the Victorian stuff was kind of going out, and all this incredible new inventions and jobs and education. It's really a fascinating period.
Yeah. Oh, so exciting. And so you write beach reads too. So what inspired you to write some beach reads? Which are perfect for the summer. We'll be talking about one of them today. They're perfect for the summer time to read.
Well, they are, I call them, they're about women and dealing with life. Mm-hmm. So, there's some romance and there's some, I don't do tragedy or any of that kind of stuff. They're very uplifting HEA kind of happy ending kind of stories. I call them, actually one reviewer called them beach reads with substance, because I do like to deal with things that really make a difference in our lives. I mean, real problems. But I just call it grown-up girls trying to figure out stuff at the beach. So
I love this. And so were you always a reader, or are you a writer? Writing which one came first, the writing or the reading?
Oh, well, it's hard to say. I was definitely a reader. I was born and raised in the South, and the summers were so hot that I would be one of those nerdy kids that would reach the 100 books read over the summer first at the library. But I also started writing very young. I remember that I had a story about ducks and puddles and things like that. So I mean, I was up there with both reading and writing. In fact, not long ago, I was cleaning out some boxes from my mother's house, and I found some crazy stories I wrote when I was maybe 12. I don't know why I did it. I don't remember doing it, but there they were.
Oh my gosh, I love this. I love when it's start young, and then you just you don't realize it until years later. It's that little seed of a dream just became reality.
Yeah, I never even sort of acknowledged it. Mm-hmm. I didn't start writing until after I had my first profession. So, yeah, I took a course at NYU just out of the blue one time, and went, oh, this is cool. I just sort of fell into it.
Oh, that's so cool. I love this. I used to work at NYU, so I'm always fond with those memories, It's a good school. So let's see. What has been the process of writing during the pandemic? Has it been any easier, any harder? Has it been the same?
Well, it's strange because at first, because I work at home. So my morning consists of getting up, getting coffee, going to the office in the next room. So I didn't really notice. And plus I was under, I had 2 deadlines ahead of me. So it was just work as usual. When I started noticing things, when it started getting to me, I think is when I realized that, around 4 or 5 o'clock, I usually can finish up, maybe have to do a little social media or, some things. But that's when you go out and meet your friends at the bar or have dinner and there was none of that. So that became very wearing. But I always try to remember, like, so many people had it so much harder. I have a nice place and a yard that I could get out into, so yeah, it was kind of intense toward the end, but got 2.5 books done in that year.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing, getting the books done, like just going through it, even despite all the stuff. That's really amazing.
So. It kind of just it's kind of the same, really. I mean, you just have to put on blinders and just do it. And you get into the zone. So when you're in the zone, you forget what's happening outside your world. It's really the times in between, or like the times when the idea you had that was so great when you got up really sucks. Halfway through the scene, you go, oh man, this isn't working. And there's no place, there's no like, okay, you can walk outside if nobody's around, but I don't know, I couldn't escape. I usually escape to the ocean and now a little drive away. So,
well, I'm glad that you were able to get some writing done, even though like it was, you didn't have the outside escapes, but hopefully they end in sight. So hopefully
we're finally opening up here in Jersey. So
yeah, same here. Things are opening up slowly but surely. Yeah. So let's chat about Imagine Summer. What is that elevator pitch?
Well, I haven't done one in a really long, but I would say that my protagonist, Skye McKenzie's, her imagination always used to get her into trouble when she was a kid. And now it's making her a fortune because she runs workshops on creativity without judgment. And it's for everybody, from children to stressed out executives, and everything is going great until her estranged sister shows up in town, bringing Skye's teenage soulmate in tow and starts to disrupt Skye's life and the town she's grown to love. So, and it gets more chaotic from there.
Takes us on a journey. So what do you hope readers to get out from reading the story?
Well, my stories are like slice of lives, and they're kind of safe places because it's about my protagonist. And I usually have 3 or 4 threads. I like stories with lots of characters. So I have like, older generation, middle generation, sometimes kids. And I think that, you should trust yourself. You should trust your imagination. You should be willing to go to bat for your friends and be able to accept their help when you need it.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It is. I think, but it's like the perfect escape, like right now to, we're just trying to take a breather, just go and like, just sit down and read the book and just get escape into somebody else's journey, as opposed to having to deal with your own issues. Like, you're like, oh, I can just project it to somebody else's stuff. So.
Yeah. And with me, that I don't have like that closed happy ever after ending, but because I have like several character stories going on in my book. So, but everybody has a hopeful. I'm just not going to depressing.
Yeah.
The protagonist kind of gets wrapped up, or at least you can see the future, and the others are like on a positive path, because not everybody gets a happy ending on the same page in life. So, I just go with that.
I think you just give us a happy ending. That sounds good. You know, take us on a journey and then just bring us apart and then just bring us back together and then just
Yeah.
everything's gonna be fine. You know, I think that's kind of like the type of book that I read is like, and just everyone needs to be fine at the end, like some sort of fine.
Exactly. I actually one time I was at the conference and this woman came up to me and said, I just want you to know that I've been in a really bad place lately and your books lifted me up.
Mm-hmm.
And so she walked away. I was so astonished because I'm not like an inspirational kind of writer. I just kind of tell it like I see it. And I never thought about, really helping somebody
That's
in that
amazing.
way. So that was sort of an eye opener for me. And it really made a difference to the way I approach writing now.
I love this. And so talk to us about your November release. What are you releasing in November?
There's a new Lady Dunbridge Gilded Age Manhattan mystery called A Secret Never Told. And Lady Dunbridge takes on a group of irate psychoanalysts and Coney Island. It's quite fun.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like fun. So how do you come up with a mystery? Like, just is the idea sparked a plot comes first, or is it a seed of an idea that just like snowball from there? Like
I call everybody has their name for their technique. I call my technique the glom technique because I get an idea for maybe a character and then I kind of glom someplace she lives. And then I kind of come up with another character and I glom their relationship. And then I glom a possible plot point. So it kind of, my stories kind of in my head grow sort of concentrically rather than in a line until I get to the actual writing. And then you kind of have to do the linear thing.
That's amazing. I love this technique. I think that's what like every person I talk to authors and they all have like different ways of writing. And it's like I'm always amazed. Like you just have to figure out like you gotta do it and then try to figure out what works for you.
Yeah, it's so true. I know people that just sit down, and now they swear they do this. I can't even picture it. They just sit down and start writing and the ideas come to them. I have to spend time before I ever I take lots of notes and like, oh, this would make a good scene. Can I use it? Who knows? And I like dash off some scenes or some things I think should happen, or wouldn't this be a good character? But I have a pretty basic idea of what's going on and who the people are before I ever sit down to write.
I love this. So let's see. What has been a book you read this past year or last year or at some point that you can't stop gushing about you would recommend to our listeners to pick up?
Oh boy. I really don't. I read a lot of nonfiction, obviously, in research, but I think one book that's sort of out of my regular kind of reading was let me see if I can remember the name of it. The Truth and Other Hidden Things by Lee Jeller. It's about a Manhattanite woman and her family that moved to the burbs and get in total trouble. And since I spent so many years in Manhattan, it just spoke to me. I was with her on every page. I was like, hooray for stuff. And I was cringing at other stuff that happened. It was the most actively involved I've been in a book for a while.
That's a really good book. I did read it and I loved it. I thought it's a great commentary.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I started reading and went, oh yeah, that's my life or my former life. So that was fun.
Yeah, as someone who also just left New York, and I was like, yeah, I understand. Although I always look back at the Hudson Valley with like just nostalgia of like, oh, the grass is green in Hudson Valley. Everyone's like so nice, and there's farmers market, and there's all the other greenery. like no.
Yes, not exactly like that. I can look out my window here and see grass, and it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't see glass anymore. I'm in Chicago, so I moved from one city to another city, but it's still like
it's like you had to go halfway across the country though, right?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. So tell us where we can find you online.
I have a website, ShelleyNoble.com. I have a couple of Facebook pages, profile. Let's see, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, BookBub. I'm there. Just, if you just Google Shelley Noble, you'll find me pretty fast.
Awesome. Thank you, Shelley, for being on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was great.
If you enjoyed this podcast, feel free to share with friends, subscribe, rate, and review the show. This is the easiest way to support the podcast. For book recommendations, author interview archives, and other fun book resources and tips, please visit WhatchWeNextBlog.com. The Watch Read Next podcast is part of the Frolic Network. To discover new shows to listen and love, please visit frolic.media/podcast. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day.